Come on, get it in there. Alright guys, before we get started, I'm just going to say you're going to either want to save this video or share it with someone that you think this is going to help, because this is a special series that I've got coming out. It's going to be a 4-part series, and we are going to cover the absolute most profitable part of snow removal that you can ever do. And it's not about salting, it's about brining. There is a massive difference between laying out rock salt and spraying out salt brine, and there's a lot of misconceptions, a lot of bad information out there. There's a lot of opinions that are floating around that are not accurate. And what we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to set up a brine operation for a small to medium-sized company. Then we're going to show you how to set up a brine operation for a large company. Then in video 3, we are going to show you the numbers. And we are going to break down exactly the formulas you need and how flipping crazy the profits can be in brine. It's unreal. It's mind-blowing how much money you can make in brine. That's in video 3. It's all numbers. It's not going to be for you guys that need to be entertained and have your dopamine spurred every minute. But if making a lot of money makes you happy like it does me, video 3 is probably going to be something you're going to put on instead of watching those late night movies that maybe you shouldn't be watching, because you're going to get off on these numbers. And video 4, we're going to show you how to take that profit and make it even better by setting up remote brine operations. Let's quit talking, let's get going, and hit that share button, hit that like button, and subscribe, because you want all 4 parts. Let's go, brothers and sisters. Tiny, you got a bigger one? Jordan, how are ya? Oh, good to see you again.
Where do you want me to go?
Right in here. Actually, probably unload it here, huh?
Maybe we get closer to the shop.
Okay. Yeah, let's just right through the gates, Jordan. It's almost like nothing is frozen or the snow is melting. I heard you pulled your snowplow off.
Now what?
No, I mean like you yanked it off your truck working. Good day to wear my tennis shoes down to the shop.
It sure is. And those look nice too, man.
Yeah, they did look nice.
They were nice.
Yeah, they were nice, right?
Gosh, I don't know if that's going to work where I was thinking now. The area cleared out thinking we were getting like a 275.
Nah, a little bigger than that.
Sand's compensating for something. I tried. It didn't move.
Come on in, Jordan. Come on in. Well,
Yeah, that should work good.
you think so?
Yeah, that'll work fine.
Oh, hey, you haven't met the team yet. Tim, Jordan, Alex. This is Jordan. And this is Luke.
Where do you think you want to set up?
Alex, you want to give us some idea of what you want to do here?
That's of that size though. It's pretty big. Yeah. I mean, it can tuck in the corner if you want, so you don't use a lot of extra space up.
Well, since it's going to be tucked in the corner, wouldn't we want to put it in the back corner then? Yeah.
Probably.
Here's
the area that I had cleared out. I didn't know we were bringing a tank that big. That thing's a monster. How many gallons does that thing hold? 5,000. 5,000?
But the key with it is that you don't want to be mixing brine during a snow event. So you mix it between, this year we've had nothing but between snow events, right? But you want to mix enough to have enough in storage where during a snow event or multiple back-to-back events like we had all year last year, you don't have to be trying to mix brine. You want to build up enough reserve where you've got a good supply and you're not stressing your labor that's already stressed doing snow. It's kind of an off-time work. So the more storage you have, the less you have to worry about that mixing process between storms.
That I got plenty of people next season that are interested in buying some brine. So right there is plenty to fill them up and ourselves as well.
Because that'll fill up your sprayer 16 times without having to refill. So So that's nice to have that reserve. That's the key. That's the key.
Okay.
The sprayer is 250,
300.
300.
Let's walk outside.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, in today's video, we are going to be setting up a brine system for a small to medium-sized company. Jordan, what would you consider a small to medium-sized company, the setup we're going to be using?
Yeah, you know, honestly, a lot of that depends on your plan with brine. So, you know, we have some very large companies that use this same small setup, but they're only using brine on their sidewalks.
Okay, tell me about what this is. What are we looking at with this, will you, Jordan?
So this is our VSI Brine Buddy. So this is our compact 300-gallon brine maker. So it'll batch 300 gallons per batch. It'll make around 3 batches per hour, so about 20 minutes a batch.
And if you guys don't know who Jordan is, last year we did the salt pricing guide. Jordan is kind of like the guru when it comes to creating brine and using that in your company. And the reason I say that is you guys switched entirely to brine. You don't use anything but brine, and you cut your salt usage down by 70%.
Correct.
You use 30%. And the reason I can say that is because brine requires 30% of the salt that actually just cast in straight rock salt down does, right?
Correct.
And so that's how you actually sell it too.
Yep.
Like when you're talking to a company, you're like, yeah, we're going to use less caustic materials on your lot. You're not going to be taking that out. Actually, I'd like you guys to hear this. This is kind of important information for all of us to learn, because this is a learning video.
It is.
Luke can go in and start cleaning out that corner. So, I mean, am I wrong or right on any of that?
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, honestly, a lot of it has to do with the phase change of a solid to a liquid. So when we spread salt on snow and ice, it creates an endothermic reaction with the snow and ice, creates a puddle of brine on the ground. As that puddle of brine on the ground spreads, it creates a patch of bare pavement. The problem is that puddle of brine spreads slowly. So what contractors do is they over apply salt so that every granule of salt is a ½ inch apart. That way it works fast.
Yep.
Well, what ends up happening is when all the snow and ice is melted away, there's still a lot of salt left behind, and that's your waste. That's your over application. Scientifically, it only takes about 200 pounds of salt per acre to get bare safe pavement. Most contractors are putting down closer to 1,000 pounds per acre. And the reason, again, is not because scientifically you need that much salt. It's because in order for that phase change from a solid to a liquid to happen in a fast enough time for our customers to be happy, we're over applying. If you were to only put down 200 pounds of salt per acre, your granules of salt would be 10 inches apart. If those puddles of brine had to spread 5 inches apiece to make a patch of bare pavement 10 inches wide, it would take 48 hours to melt down, and no one's willing to wait that long. So by applying the puddle directly to the pavement instead of waiting for the puddle to spread, we save a lot of salt.
So let's pretend this is a salt granule.
Yep.
You put that down, and what he's saying is by the time this salt granule melts, it's going to spread 5 inches either side of it for one salt granule, and then you got another one over here that's going to melt, and you're getting this continual coverage. But that takes 48 hours for that to occur, and that takes too long. Where with brine, you've already pre-melted it. So as soon as it hits the asphalt, it's in that activated stage and it's doing what it's supposed to do. That's how you can get away with using a lot less. What were the formulas again?
Yeah, so what we're doing with salt brine is we're mixing to what's called the eutectic point. Yep. So we're mixing our salt brine. Our VSI Brine Buddy has a digital readout we'll show you guys that will help you mix to that 23.3% eutectic point every single time. So that equates to 2.28 pounds per gallon. But what we've done at VSI by Boss is we've made it really simple. You don't have to measure anything. You just keep dumping salt in this thing until that meter on your smart connected device shows 23.3%, and once it does, you pump it out, your brine's done. So we've made something that's very scientific into something that's very simple for everyone to use.
And then what were the formulas? What were the numbers we're going through again, so we don't have to have people go through it? What were the rates? What were we talking about last year, if you don't mind?
So once we mix that eutectic salt brine, typically we're putting down between 40 and 80 gallons per acre. So 40 gallons per acre on a pre-treatment. Okay. So pre-treatment's when you apply it before the snow, helps prevent the bond with the pavement, kind of like spraying a frying pan before you cook on it, keeps the pan stuff from sticking to the pan. Post-treatment is after you're done plowing, so whatever residual snowpack and ice is left, we're going to use 80 gallons an acre for that. Now, if you get really severe snowpack or ice, you might have to bump to 100 or 120 gallons per acre, but that's very situational.
And what's the rate that we're charging for that then?
So the rate we're going to charge is really market dependent. I mean, it's really hard to put a per gallon price on that. If you have a tiny little lot that only takes 30 gallons, you're going to charge a lot higher rate per gallon than a lot that takes 300 or 400. So it's hard to put an exact price on that on a market basis.
Okay, so walk us through, how does this work then?
Yeah, so this Brine Buddy's super simple. Even with plumbing in a tank, it's probably about a 30-minute process to get it set up and running and making brine. So literally, we're going to set it in place wherever it's going to go. It is very light. When it doesn't have water or salt in it, it's easy to move around. It just slides around on the skid on the bottom. We're going to set it in place. We're going to plug it into a 110 volt outlet. So a standard wall outlet is what's going to power this thing. There's a built-in switch that's going to turn it on and off once it's plugged in. And then this box here is our technology I talked about that reads your salinity. So there's a sensor inside the tank here that talks to this circuit board. This circuit board connects to the VSI by Boss spray control app. That's going to show your salinity in real time. So as we're mixing, we'll show when we're mixing that as we're mixing, that salinity is going up. Once we hit that 23.3% eutectic point, we know our brine's done. So we don't have to worry about measuring our salt. We don't have to weigh our salt. We don't have to worry if there's exactly 300 gallons of water in here. It does not matter. As long as we read this meter, we're good.
Okay. And now, is there a certain size company that would, you know, we were talking about this for a small to medium sized company. Is there any guide points where a guy can go, hey, this is still good for us up to this point, but then at some point you have the next size bigger, which is what we were actually looking at doing, but we realized it was just overkill for our fledgling operation for salt, because we're just finally getting, you know, full steam ahead into that. Where's that break point at, Jordan?
Yeah, so this unit will make around 1,000 gallons per hour. Part of that answer depends on how much storage you have, right?
Okay.
So the more brine storage you have, the more you can get away with in terms of coverage. You know, if you have 50,000 gallons of storage and you have time to make 50,000 gallons with this unit, you can go a long ways with it. The problem is there's a point that it crosses where when you're making enough brine, because this only makes 1,000 gallons per hour and our legacy brine maker makes 3,000 gallons per hour, there's a labor factor that goes into the cost. So when we look at the cost of brine, basically your costs are water, salt, primary, you got some electricity, and then you got labor. So now, in order to make brine with this, you're gonna have someone constantly feeding this thing bags of salt or shoveling salt in, right? There's labor involved there. Whereas with the big unit, you're loading with a skid steer, so it's a lot faster. You can load a yard of salt in a single scoop, so it's a little bit faster, so your labor burden per gallon is lower. I would say, typically speaking, if you're using 50,000 gallons a year or less, this is a great option. If you're using more than 50,000 gallons a year, you want to look at the bigger unit.
So we're going to have a 5,000 gallon storage tank, 300 gallon mixed tank, 300 gallon sprayer. You want to walk us through the sprayer over here? Because there's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot of science involved with the actual spray unit itself. Okay, so this is the sidewalk support unit, and then you also have a dedicated truck mount unit, but let's walk through this unit right here.
Yep, so this is our legacy sidewalk slayer. So this unit was designed to support sidewalk crews. So there's two different ways you can use this unit. This is a no spray boom. This does not go on a truck to spray parking lots. This is for supporting your sidewalk applications and your sidewalk equipment. So one way to apply with this with the hose reel. So you can drag this around, you can spray driveways, sidewalks, entryways, staircases. But then the other way we can use this is by using the built-in fill hose kit. So it comes with a fill hose kit that's made to support snow raiders and other sidewalk equipment. So those have onboard brine systems already.
Yep.
You use this as your carrier, you use the supplied fill hose that comes with it, and you can keep your tanks full in those units. So let's say this is in the back of your pickup. Pickup drives around, they're spraying a few sidewalks, there's snow raider crews next door, they can go top off the snow raiders while they're en route.
Okay.
So that's what this is built for.
Okay. Okay, so this is kind of like your bread and butter, right? And if you guys don't know who Jordan is, he is the actual, you're one of the creators of this entire system.
One of the inventors, yes.
One of the inventors is right here, and you're saying that this is pretty much your bread and butter. This is the system that most guys are gravitating toward because it's economical, and it gets them in business, and it's plug and play. 110 outlet and you're boom, you're in business. Yep. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean it's just so easy to get into from a price point. You know, under 10,000 bucks, you have the thing in your building, plumbed up, set up, ready to make brine. You can use bagged product, you can use bulk product. It's got the digital salinity reader, so you always get the right mixture. It's great for companies doing a lot of side blocks with snow raiders. It's great for companies using 1 or 2 spray units on trucks. I mean, and if you have enough storage tanks, it really can be scalable to a decent volume. Like I said, 50,000 gallons a year would be no problem.
So for a guy kind of trying to get in on a budget for under 15 grand, he can have a brand new unit.
Yep.
And that tank right there, that's about 5 grand.
Yep.
On Facebook Marketplace, it's probably cheaper, but you don't know how that's going to be. He'd find it, of course. He finds everything on Facebook Marketplace. Look at his truck. Half of his stuff on his truck is from Facebook Marketplace. But what I'm saying is 15 grand, you've got brand new equipment. Jordan said he was bringing out a storage tank for us to set this up, but we weren't expecting it to be quite that big. Hey! Back up, there's nails. You demolished the pallet. You angry? Are you angry at it or something? You taking out a little frustration on the pallet, or what the heck is wrong with you today?
I've never seen a shop as bad. Ever. I got it. Yeah, I got boots on, man. You got
All right, he's got to go this way.
I'll get out of there. I'll let you
Yeah, come this way. Come this way. She ain't gonna go in that door sideways. Oh, it ain't gonna go. He's not gonna hit that plow, is he?
No. So far, so good.
Yep, there we go. Doing good.
It's looking like it's just widening door, ain't it?
Yeah.
You might just squeak it in there. If it's 12 feet, we got 12 and a half. Okay. You might just sneak it in there.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right. All right, you can't see anything. So I need like double spotter. I can't see over here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have them come to the right of here. Right of here. Right?
Yeah, we ain't gonna make it.
Let's just
Yeah, we're not making it. Hey, yeah, you got room to go that way? Yeah, just try going that way a little bit, cause we're forward. Yeah, forward, go. Okay, hold up, Tim. The fittings are in the mud.
forward. It swings the top towards the truck and tries to set the bottom closer to here. You swing it so you're at an angle, the top towards the truck, the bottom right here closer.
We got plows on the side. It's pretty tough. He can't see nothing.
Cleaning the tank would take a couple rags and then
Right. Yeah. Let's just.
it's just modular.
Yeah, we'll set her down and.
You can throw a tarp down and fucking throw it on top of that and spin it.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Honestly, once we get on the ground, if we want to heave low, we can just shove it in the building. it's in the building, it's near the door, leave it on.
What the heck is the name of that movie with that guy, super funny, fat guy, and he's trying to put on that tiny suit? What was his name? What was the name of that movie? You guys remember what the heck that was? Well, that's exactly what we're trying to do here. Is we're trying to put something way too big in a space that's way too small for it. If you go straight down, we're going to be putting that fitting right in the mud. Last thing we want is pressure on that fitting. We want to try to keep that up, or at least not on the ground.
Back up a little more. Roll it down.
Yep. Back up a little bit more. Angle it down. We'll roll it off. We go to top first. All right, ready, go.
Hey, don't break that spreader.
All right, we gotta go Tim's way.
Yep.
We're gonna push. Okay, you bringing it in?
I think there's only one on the back.
Yep. Push it.
A little more.
Okay.
A little more.
One more?
We can take a little more. That's it. Hey, we gotta get the brine maker.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Because when that comes down, we don't want to be bouncing on it.
Pretty light. So. Turn it up.
Alright, how about I'll be on this side, you guys hook on the back side, and I'll push it
Any
back.
way to have the skiddy here with the forks to
Yeah, you could.
Stop it from
stop it from
hitting
hitting it?
Yep, get up the forks up high to catch any bounce back.
Put the bucket on maybe? I'll poke a hole in the big
Yeah,
tank.
bucket's good.
Oh, I put it
These tanks are real thick and tough, but yeah, bucket would be safer. We can have it just up, and then that way if it does any ricochet, it doesn't hit the garage door.
If you want to grab the bucket, stick it on that thing. Bring it right in, we'll take the fork extensions off, we don't need them in the mud freezing down.
Because then that will be in this corner and we'll be lifting it into the corner.
Yeah, maybe that is how we should have done it.
That's backwards.
Spun it around and pushed the base into this corner here and then lifted it that way into this corner.
Yeah. We should have set it back down, which is fine.
Okay.
If we can get it on wedge.
Yeah, we'll have to, you guys get it up here.
New plan. Okay, so here's the beauty part. We can't get it to fit. Jordan did some math. We need 178 inches, we got 166. And that's for the fulcrum plate. Otherwise the tank itself is 144. But wouldn't you know it, took about 2 minutes, not even, to get it up in position outside. All right, but we want to get that nozzle fanned angle toward the door, right?
Yep.
All right.
Do we need to push on Alex's side around?
Yeah, lean back a little bit.
Yeah, we should get her away from the building a little bit there.
Let's rotate right.
You want to scoot her off the building a little bit, or
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we're on the front of tree.
We're stuck in the mud now a little bit.
All right, so plans change. When we were originally designing setting up our brine maker, we were going to use the biggest one they had. But our shop doesn't have the right power outlet. So we were looking at buying a generator so that instead of rewiring our shop to try to get it so we could run that brine maker, we were just going to run a generator. And I called the store and I told them what we were doing, that we needed 240, and I've got Karina here. Karina, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
So when we needed a generator, this was the one that was recommended for our application. This is the Predator Super Quiet Inverter 9500. Why was this one recommended over all the other ones? Because you guys have multi-fuel generators. You've got this, you've got that. What makes this one your best one?
It's super quiet. It runs for 18 hours. It has the CO2 shutdown. And then you can go from 120 volt to 240 volt. 68 decibels, that's around a vacuum or a TV.
Oh, wow.
So it's very quiet, and most people like that for their generators. There's also a parallel kit you can buy if you ever want to get 2 generators and just add them in together. And
So you can expand onto it. So this would be great for our shop, but for a home or something too.
definitely runs your home. Definitely runs your home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this one of the better ones that Harbor Freight offers,
Yes,
right?
it's one of our best ones.
Okay, so here it is. Let's just take a quick look at it, you guys. Because if you're like me and you didn't have the right power source, this is your alternative, a great alternative. 7,600 running watts. When it's compared to a Honda, Honda's got like 5,000 running watts, if I remember right. When you said carbon monoxide shutdown, so this will automatically shut this down.
Yes.
Because we're running ours inside. You guys have seen it. We're going to be running this inside. So having that be able to shut down, I don't have to worry about guys doing anything. Is this a dual fuel generator?
No, from what I remember, it's a gas.
This one is pure gas. But now you have
Electric
electric start. So it's just flip a button and the guys are going. Not yanking, not pulling, not doing anything.
Yep.
But you have a tri-fuel generator as well. Diesel, propane, and gasoline. It'll run. Can we walk over there real quick? So this was the one that's going home with me today. But I just want to look at it because you guys, it's brand spanking new.
Yeah, we literally just put it up as our display.
Okay, so
This will be our 1300.
tri-fuel. Gas, propane, and natural gas.
Natural gas.
Oh, natural gas. There you go. Wow.
Yep, and then there's the natural gas hose. There's all the things you would need for it. And then always look out for coupons. Always look out for coupons.
Shop manager says look out for coupons. When they say look out for coupons, that means look out for coupons. So there you go. But this is the one we needed. So thank you, Karina. I appreciate you walking me through it and why. You know, guys, when I'm doing these videos, I'm always asking the experts. It's not just my opinion. It's what do they say and why do they say it, because they know their stuff more than I do. So I always try to ask them, and I always try to get them to come on camera, so I hope that helps you guys out. This is the one that's going home with me, the Predator 9500. We were all really pumped just about the generator too. I mean, because this is going to come in so handy on our job sites. So handy. All right, so if you don't have water, you can get a transfer tank. For this video, we're just going to use the sidewalk buddy as a transfer tank until we get our dedicated transfer tank set up. So this is not the right application for this, for the sidewalk buddies, but
The sidewalk layer,
Sidewalk Slayer, yes, sir. Yep.
Sidewalk Slayer, thank you, Alex. For the Sidewalk Slayer, but it'll get water going and then we can test fit everything and show you how we make salt, or make brine.
At the bottom? No, I use it right here. Oh, okay. Just get water in, that's all.
Did we fill it up and check oil on the engine? I think, Luke, you checked oil, didn't you?
Oil, yes.
And it was good?
Gas. Need gas. Yeah, oil comes filled from the back.
Damn. It's got some volume, huh? Wow.
That's what you call drinking from a fire hose, right? All right. Come on, get it in there. All right, Jordan, what are we looking at?
All right, we got our brine buddy set up. So again, that's as simple as literally pulling it into your shop, plugging it into an outlet. I already showed the guys how to hook up the VSI spray control app so we can monitor our salinity. I'll show you that. We have not put any salt in yet, but I kind of want to show how it works.
Okay.
It's really simple. Literally just uses high pressure water to mix salt and water into salt brine. So inside of this hopper here, we have this stainless steel pipe. And if we kick in the pump, what you're going to see happen is water blasting out of there.
Okay.
So kick in the pump, you just turn on the switch. Malfunction, wrong valve was open.
It's all right. I need a tennis shoe to
Outtakes.
wash. Okay, go for it.
Now when we turn this on, it's going to start agitating through those jets in that hopper. Once we put salt in there, we got that high pressure system that's going to agitate that salt in the salt brine. And I just wanted to show that before the salt in there. So we're going to start loading salt in. We can do that while it's running. So we're going to load some salt in here. When we're loading salt in, we're just going to heat the thing up and keep it fed. As we're doing that, we're going to keep an eye on our VSI spray control app to check our salinity. So you don't have to stare at the thing the whole time, but certainly as you're adding salt, you're going to see those numbers go up.
Wow. That reads Bluetooth then, or?
Yeah, it's a Bluetooth connection to this box right here.
It was really easy. I downloaded the app in a second and we connected right to it.
And this here is what's telling us what's happening. It's called the toroidal sensor. It actually uses electrical current to sense the resistance or electrical current in the water to know what salinity the brine is at. So the first batch is different than all the other ones because you're starting with no salt in your hopper. Because this is a batch system, you don't have to worry about putting the precise amount of salt in. You just keep that hopper fed full of salt all the time. So when you're doing your first batch, there's no salt in there. That's why they're kind of getting splashed. Once that hopper has a base of salt in there, when you're loading salt, it's not going to splash all over the place like this. So you'll see after the first batch, it's a little bit different. But basically, we're going to get them to heat that hopper up. And once it's heated up, you're going to see the salt falling or shrinking down as it dissolves. And as it shrinks down, we can just keep filling it. And that way you're not dumping salt into water and splashing.
So, but it's about how many pounds per 300 gallons, Jordan? What would a guy expect?
So scientifically, 2.28 pounds per gallon of water.
Okay.
So 300 gallons would be like 640 pounds of salt.
Okay, and you can use both rock salt like we're using,
Yep.
straight out of the trailer, and then or bag salt, right? But you can't use treated.
You don't want to use treated, and the reason for that is because treated salt has calcium or magnesium chloride in it. And the sensor in this brine blood is not made to read calcium or magnesium chloride, it's made to read sodium chloride. So if we start introducing calcium or magnesium, which have a higher specific gravity than salt, it's going to artificially make your reading high. So the only way we're going to get accurately mixed brine is with straight salt.
Straight salt, okay. So, but if you wanted to use mixed salt, if you wanted to add an additive, how would you do it then?
Yep, so the way that we'd want to use an additive is we want to buy a ready-made additive, calcium or magnesium chloride based, and we want to mix that with our finished salt brine. So once we get our salt brine finished at 23.3, we would then inject the additive into that mixed into our sprayer. That way we know that we have properly eutectic salt brine mixed with a proper additive, which is calcium or magnesium chloride.
Okay, so we've got her full.
Let's get her turned on and watch her shrink away. see that salt now shrinking down, shrinking away as it dissolves. You can see your salinity going up.
What's the salinity that we want to get to again?
23.3%.
Okay. How many hopperfuls would that be on average then?
It's about 2 hopperfuls, so now you can really see this one. So as it shrinks salinity, you just keep adding salt. The nice thing about a batch system is you don't have to worry about weighing or measuring your salt. As long as you keep that hopper fed, once that hits 23.3, we'll go and we'll turn off the agitation. It's not going to mix anymore.
So even though we can have too much salt in the mixer, in the hopper, we can just stop it and then pump it out and then put the new water in. So it's not like you got to exactly shovel the right amount in.
Correct. It does not matter. As long as you keep that hopper fed, it's going to mix it to the right amount. When you get to the right amount, you turn the pump off and you're good to go.
Okay.
Now,
Perfect.
is there any pros or cons on running a higher salt level in there, like a higher concentration? Do you get benefits out of that? Like let's say you ran it to 30%. Would that be a more powerful product, or what are the advantages or disadvantages for that?
That's a really good question. Honestly, common misconception. So 23.3% is what's called the eutectic point. So eutectic point of salt brine is the lowest possible freeze point. So 23.3% salt brine is good to -6 degrees Fahrenheit. If we were to mix to the maximum saturation, which is around 26.5%, that freezes at 32 degrees just like water. So oversaturated brine is actually bad. It will freeze at 32 degrees, same as water.
And that's why I asked, because I would be the one to think, oh, more salt, more powerful. But
It is honestly, like, anytime I talk to a contractor who's tried brine and they've done a homemade brine maker, if they tell me like, yeah, I tried brine and turned my parking lot to ice, every single time it's because they made brine that was too strong. They just mixed it, like, okay, must be mixed good enough now, and they called it good. The problem is they oversaturated and it froze at the same temperature as water.
Any issues with this getting dumped up?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a pretty easy hopper to clean out. So if and when you get a bunch of undissolvable solids built up at the bottom of your hopper, the way that you're going to know that is because your batches are going to start mixing slower. Because once you cover those jets up with a 8 inches of sludge, you're not going to mix as fast. Your batch time's going to go from 20 minutes down to up to like 30, 40, 50 minutes. When it starts getting slow, you just got to scoop out the undissolvable stuff and keep going. It takes 5 minutes to clean it out.
a lot of people are scooping this salt off of like a gravel yard. How is it affected if a little bit of dirt gets mixed in there?
Yeah, so this hopper has filter screens built in with very fine mesh. So any large undissolvable solids will remain trapped in the mixing hopper itself. Once you get a buildup of those undissolvable solids in the bottom of the hopper, you just shovel them out and throw them in the dumpster and keep going with fresh salt. So if you have gravel in there, if you have mulch in there, it's not going to hurt. This system's made to filter it out. I mean, the cleaner the salt, the less labor, the less clean out.
Right.
But, you know, if you got dirty salt, you just got to clean it out more often. Nice and quiet, you know, it's...
Yeah, we're talking.
Yeah.
And it's running.
Yeah.
What?
Very simple system.
Okay, so 300 gallons will cover how many square feet?
So 300 gallons pre-treating. So 40 gallons an acre, 300 gallons. You cover like
40 gallons.
8 acres pre-treating. You cover about half that post-treating, so about 4 acres post-treating.
40 gallons per acre pre-treating, 80 gallons per acre
Post-treating.
post-treating.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we got how many pounds per?
2.28 pounds per gallon.
2.28 pounds
So
per
when you're putting
gallon.
down 40 gallons an acre, you're putting down like 96 pounds of salt per acre.
Per acre.
So think about how little salt that is on an acre, you know?
Right.
Picture taking 2 softener salt bags and trying to spread them
That's what
evenly
I was
over an
just
acre.
gonna say.
Nothing.
That's one of these bags over there, or 2 of those bags right here,
Spread over an acre. I mean,
spread over an acre. Tim would
the
put
beauty.
that in the size of a pickup truck bed.
right. Well, that's the beauty of liquids, honestly, is just because once you mix them into liquid form, all the sprayers have what's called rate control. So you can precisely put down the right amount of product every time. So your VSI sprayer, you tell the thing 40 gallons an acre. It puts down 40 gallons whether you drive fast, slow, or anywhere in between.
Right, it does the calibration. I
Never
remember
waste
that.
any product.
Remember following down the road, watching the entire sprayer speed up. But
Yep.
we'll check out the actual sprayer at Jordan's shop. He's going to walk us through it in the next video coming down the pipeline.
Now, does it have automatic hydrometer in there or whatever? Does that
get gummed up ever? Do you ever have to worry about that?
Yeah, so if you ever feel like, you know, like if your reading ever gets stuck, so what I've typically seen, like if the reader's got residue on it, it'll get stuck around 18 or 19%. No matter how long you mix, it won't go up. If that happens, what that means is that there's residual salt buildup on the sensor. Just take a cloth and just wipe it off. It doesn't happen often, but if you let it sit for months and months without being used or being cleaned, it could happen. But it's a very low maintenance, fully sealed sensor. We're at 14.1 right now.
Common misconception?
One of the most common misconceptions, again, is people do the math and they hear 2.28 pounds per gallon, they take it times 300 gallons and they add exactly that much salt. The problem is, because this is a batch system, we have those jets in the bottom. If we put in only the exact amount of right amount of salt, as that salt dissolves away and there's no pressure on those jets, all the jets do is trommel the salt around, it never dissolves. So we had a guy call last week, he's like, it's taken an hour and a half to mix a batch, and you said it was 20 minutes. And the problem was he put in the exact right amount of salt. That last 50 pounds of salt was never dissolving, because instead of having a bunch of weight pushing it into those jets, it was just getting trommeled around in the water.
It created a bridge over the top of it.
Exactly.
So what happens is the salt went down, the jets are stirring underneath, and the salt doesn't drop down into the jets. That's the difference.
So the key is to always keep the hopper build up the salt, to keep that weight on those jets, to keep the pressure on there so it dissolves more quickly.
Makes sense.
And that's the beauty of a batch system, is you don't have to measure your salt ever.
So when we get to that point where we're hitting our spot and we got that hopper full, then what do we do? How do we shut off the salt from mixing and just let the brine mixer agitate?
Yeah. So once we get there, we'll wait till we get there.
All right, we'll wait till we get there. Okay, so you created this system because up until this system, what was the other option?
So prior to the Brine Buddy coming to market, if you wanted to start making brine, you had to have 220 volt power.
Yeah.
You had to have a 2-inch water source. You had to have room for at least 15,000 gallons of storage tanks, and you had to have a budget of $100,000+ to set it all up. So it made the barrier to entry in brine really high.
Yeah.
By bringing this simple unit to market with 110 volt power, you can use a garden hose to fill it. You can use a storage tank like you did to fill it here. Super simple, super easy to set up, and in under 10 grand you can get going and running brine and use it in your operation.
Yeah, we figured 15 grand is what I said earlier
with the
the
tank.
tank. Yeah, with the storage tank.
And there's a lot of guys, if they're just doing sidewalk work, they don't even buy a storage tank. They just fill right from here. This holds 300 gallons.
Yeah, it's 300 gallons, good deal, and then just goes right into the back of the truck from there.
Correct.
So, would you recommend pre-treating every time? Like, let's say we get half an inch. Would you suggest that if we know a half inch is coming, would you go out and pre-treat it, or would a post-treatment melt off that half an inch?
That's a great question. What I always say with liquids is that liquids are always better to be proactive than reactive. So anytime that you have an opportunity to go out and get ahead of the snow or the ice or the sleet, it's going to be more effective than you're better to be proactive than reactive, right? So if you can get it down before the snow, ice, or sleet, you're better off than waiting until it falls and trying to melt it away. The reason for that is because when we apply it to the pavement directly before there's snow and ice on it, there's no dilution. You're getting the pure product to the pavement. It's not getting diluted by having that snow and ice melt as you're applying it. And when it can work from the bottom up, you always have thermal energy from the ground. Even if the ground is cold, there's more thermal energy in the ground than in the air. So when you can work from the bottom up, it's always more effective. So anytime we know there's a clipper coming through or think there's going to be a clipper coming through, we'll always go and pre-treat. A lot of times, it'll prevent it from sticking. If it doesn't prevent it from sticking, it's going to melt off over the course of the next
And then every treatment, you can consider that, you can mark that down as a half inch
Correct.
event.
Correct.
Every single time you go out, whether it does anything or not. You went out, as long as it's called for, that can be considered a half inch event. So it's good. It's good to add into your totals
Right,
for
to
the
build
year.
your totals up, yeah.
Yep, to get your totals accurate so you know exactly what you're doing.
So we send these with every brine buddy. This is called the salt brine hydrometer. So this is the manual way to check your batch. If you want to cross-reference to make sure your technology is working right, if you want to just check, if you want to be super safe, some guys, that eutectic point is so important. We want to make sure we're mixing right. So a way we can cross-check our technology is just putting this in the tank or pulling a sample from the tank and floating this in there. And wherever it floats to is what the salinity's at. So we want it to be floating right around 23.3% when the batch is done.
Okay, so what's weird, Jordan?
So one important thing to remember if you're using one of these hydrometers, whether you're using one of the Brine Buddy Brine Maker or someone else's, is these hydrometers are only calibrated for a certain temperature. So this one is calibrated for 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That matters a lot because the density of water increases as it gets cold. So if you test brine that's 30 degrees with this hydrometer, it's going to be completely wrong. So this is only accurate at 60 degrees. The nice thing about our technology in this machine is it automatically adjusts for differences in temperature.
I thought I seen the temp on there. Is that accurate temp of the temperature? What
Yep,
is that?
that's Celsius, 7.4 Celsius. And this is calibrated for 60. This water's colder than this is calibrated for, meaning this is going to read higher. So the only way this would be accurate is if we had 60-degree water.
Okay.
Can I change this from Celsius to Fahrenheit in the app settings at all? Or
I don't
is it-
think so. I think it's these sensors are made in Italy, so I think their standard is Celsius.
We're probably good on salt, huh?
Refreshed. Okay, so now we've mixed. We went a little bit over 23.3 because we were chatting here. No big deal, no worries. As soon as we hit that number, we turn that off, we're no longer mixing. So we're no longer increasing the salinity, even though there's still salt in there, even though there's still water in here, we're done mixing because we have a separate batch hopper and a separate mixing hopper. That's the beauty of the system is you don't have to get your salt exact because they're separate systems.
Now this can stay like this with no worries.
The water will drain out, right?
Yes, it'll drain out through the screens.
The water will drain out, but the salt won't bind up and turn into a rock.
Correct.
So you don't have to worry about getting that all cleaned out.
That was my
Correct.
question earlier about gunking up and, you know.
Yep.
Yep. No,
Well, I was
leave
worried
it
about the
full.
salt solidifying. But now if you go a little over or a little under, how's that affect it?
Yeah, so even though that eutectic point is what you call an exact science, we're applying this stuff to parking lots. We're not making some kind of lab science experiment here. So anything between 22 and 24% is considered safe. If you're gonna err on the side of caution, being a little bit low is better than being too high. The other thing I always tell people, if you're pumping into a storage tank and you walk away, you're on the phone, you accidentally mix to 24.5, 25, don't panic. Pump it to your tank. When you make your next batch, just counteract that. Go down to 20%.
Add a little more
The
water.
average of 20 and 25 gets you to right around that 22.5, 23%.
Yep, just add a little water,
Don't
make it
overthink
thin.
it. You know, as long as you're close, you're good.
Yep, all right. And we're done.
We're done.
We got her, we're mixed up. Now we can pump her right into the sprayer and,
Correct.
Do you have that stopwatch? See total time?
Yeah.
oh, you actually had a stopwatch going?
That was 19 minutes.
We're at 23.7, and let me see your stopwatch. You put
I
that
just
away too
closed it.
fast. Yeah,
Hold on, hold on,
did
hold
you
on.
erase it? See, if we don't see it, it didn't happen, Jordan.
Oh, that
Oh, see?
way quicker
Now
than
we can't believe anything he said.
gotta redo it, gotta make
Forget
another
it.
one.
Forget it. Can't believe anything he said. All right, but thank you, Jordan. Appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if guys want more information, they want to learn more, you've been a wealth of knowledge. Tell me, do you got your own social media channel? Do you got any information, a
Yeah.
website, or how do guys find out more?
Yeah, we got a ton of information. So Boss has put together this awesome program called Elevate Your Liquid IQ. We made an entire masterclass series about liquids, brine making, brine spraying, best practices, science, everything you'd want to know. Visit Boss Plow's website, look for the Elevate Your Liquid IQ link. Inside of there, we got tons of videos. We've got a 19-page liquid playbook, we call it. So everything that we talk about in terms of liquids is in that liquid playbook. You can print it off, have it as a resource guide. And then we always love talking to contractors too. So call our office and we'd love to chat.
And what's the number?
I don't know.
Just call this random number that not even he knows, and we're all good to go. Why do we
it's
need
Boss's
it?
phone number now. We don't have our direct. Actually, you know what? So the phone number is 800-286-4155.
800-286-4155.
That's right.
All right, there you go. So if you got any questions, you can call. You can go to the website, Elevate Your
Liquid IQ.
Liquid IQ, and I hope this video's helped you out. Jordan's bringing us out to his shop next. We're going to see exactly how the mad scientist has done it. He's one of the creators of this entire system. He's scaled this down, made it affordable for small contractors dipping their toe in the water without putting $100,000 down on the line. You can get in for 1/10 of the cost.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing, and I hope this has helped you guys out. That's it for today. We are getting a different tank. That's the only update we got to talk about. We had a failure. We failed our big tank. We were going to put it outside, but Timmy's really worried about it, storing it outside. He wants everything inside. And you know how much Timmy worries. We don't want him to worry. So we're going to switch tanks, get the new tank inside, and call this one done. But that's it for this one. God bless. Go get them, you guys, and we'll catch you on another one. Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, man.